Hello, ladies. Look at your man. Now back to me. Now back at your man. Now back to me. Sadly, he isn't me.
A successful man in an advert doesn't talk very much. He's really, really big, strong, stoic, isolated and solitary.
Steamy.
I mean, maybe that's the dream. Maybe that's why maybe that's what men want. I don't know. So this week, I'm going to be looking at images of success in advertising and the media targeted at men. I feel like in the past 20 years, on the women's side, things have changed massively, and there's a lot more diversity when it comes to beauty and what success means as a woman.
Hey, you ready?
But when I look across at men, it feels like there's still a very specific mould. There are lots of men working in the advertising industry, for example, who believe that these stereotypes are actually incredibly negative and that something needs to be done to change that. But these conversations shouldn't be limited just to advertising agencies.
David Beckham as well.
David Beckham. David Beckham is the one, definitely.
Showing like what actually happens in everyday life.
So I started this journey at New Macho, an advertising agency in Shoreditch, where I spoke to Fernando.
To be honest, the end goal of this journey is a sustainable gender balance.
It's like going to the dentist. He had these kind of developed, nuanced ideas around advertising and I guess the impact that has on society and stereotypes around men.
So we did a big research in 10 countries and we realized many things. One were that men were performing who they are. They are not being who they are. They are performing what is expected for them to be. They then start following a path towards what we define as successful man is in a way that is quite narrow and sometimes materialistic.
Not just living in style, but the style.
And they have an emotional gap. And that emotional gap, they tend to feel it sometimes with an addiction that could be something soft like drinking, or it can go farther like drugs, and then it can be something more acceptable as being a workaholic, until if you keep that for too long, you get anxiety, depression, and then you get the mental health issues. We wanted to put this under the spotlight of society, that men were suffering.
Can you give examples of people who represent that kind of archetype, like celebrities?
We used to play with 007, now Thomas Shelby for Peaky Blinders, Mad Men, and all of the image of a guy that is successful, always in control. The way we are defining this idea of successful man is for me the worst stereotype, and we are not talking about it. I think we are ready now to talk, and when we talk about it, people is more open to listen.
If you go back through the kind of history of advertising, almost every stereotype, every ism at some point, advertising has played a role in it, whether it's racism, whether it's sexism. And I think in masculinity, it's equally so. Every time a brand expresses a man, first of all, he's perfect. Secondly, he's sculpted to the eyeballs. And always, he's got that pout on, like he can't show emotion. I've got a 10-year-old boy now. I catch him looking in the mirror to see if he's got a six-pack. But you know, he looks to Cristiano Ronaldo and he looks to all those images and goes, that's what masculinity is all about. If that kind of imagery is the imagery that kids grow up to actually aspire to and look up to, then that's going to impact on their values and how they think about things.
Do you think you can basically change and have an effect by changing the images that you've got in advertising?
Totally. Brands have contributed to the problem. So almost by definition, brands can help solve the problem. It's just that in some ways, commercial gain at any cost has overwhelmed the ability for brands and communication to do something good. It can be good, it can be an enormous force of good. And it can also generate profit as well. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. You can do well by doing good.
I'd like to quickly look at a few more of those, because I think that's quite...
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm quite interested to get your take on the different ads. Is it a watch ad special? It must be a watch special. Like this one, there's no one in it, but it's kind of got that solitary vibe you were talking about. It's like
moody.
Cabin in the woods.
Check me out. I'm at one with the wilderness. I'm the type of man who can take on Mother Nature herself and win.
I just think if you're the type of man who's going to be out in the wilderness, maybe you should be able to tell the time from the sun.
Again, by himself, your journey, connected. I don't even think that makes sense.
Oh, it's a disgusting watch. It's silly because we've all got phones now. So
Oh no,
why-
because it's nothing to do telling time. It's basically saying, check out what type of man I am.
Bolton. So in order to do a bit of research, I'm here in Bolton and I put together a bunch of covers from GQ with a wide selection of men, and I'm going to ask guys to tell me who they think represents success and who they respect.
It's got to be a choice between David Beckham and Stormzy.
David Beckham. So I was drawn to David Beckham straight away. Great role model, superstar, fashion icon.
I think he maximised his potential. He's a family man. He's an icon for the UK.
In a lot of places in England especially, there ain't much out there for people. They're the two that have come from nothing to actually be something.
So you got John Legend, and then you've got Drake. I just think the way they dress are pretty cool.
Drake's £500,000 watch.
What is it about watches?
It's like if a guy drove a Ferrari and a Corsa, it would be two different things. You'd look at them differently, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's a status symbol.
Definitely Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran as well.
The guy starting from busking and having nothing to what he's got now and where he's gone with it, and a massive idol of mine, respect him a lot.
Conor McGregor, 100%.
Why is that?
Because he's just a man's man, innit? He thinks he's the man, he knows he's the man, so
Yeah.
I think he's the man as well.
I feel that it's important also to go and speak to young men who are potentially at risk of kind of taking on those stereotypes and I guess having the burden of feeling they have to live up to that. So I decided to go to Ladybridge High School to speak to a group of young boys and one girl and ask them how they see these images of success and if they see them differently. So we put together a list of guys who get put into a lot of adverts and I wanted to ask you to each pick who your favourite one is. What does success look like? And I want you to choose who's successful and who you respect.
Because of all the stuff he said about Rick. I picked Stormzy and Mozilla. Yeah, Stormzy.
Who do you think is going to be the most popular?
I'd say David Beckham.
You think everyone's going to pick David Beckham? Yeah. For success, who have you put down?
For success, I put David Beckham. For me to be successful, you need to work hard and like learn from your mistakes.
Who else said David Beckham for one of their answers? You three down the front. Okay, cool. You guys haven't said anything yet? Who have you chosen?
Conor McGregor, because of his UFC career and all he's come through since he was like younger, and so he's like the undisputed champion.
And he punched an old man for not drinking his whiskey.
No, but he's changed from back then. He was an idiot. Do you see what
He was only last year.
He's the undisputed featherweight champion.
Are there any other ones, you guys that haven't spoken? Yes?
It's probably James, but like...
James Corden?
Yeah, but like, I'm not trying to be mean, but like, when you become successful, you have a lot of money, you normally look better.
In that picture, he's got a bow tie on, he looks very smart.
Yeah.
Are you more talking about the fact that, like...
Physically, yeah. Ronaldo, when he was younger, he had some problem with his teeth and like something to do with it. Ronaldo got his teeth fixed and nose fixed. Like, you intently meant to look better and fix the problem that you have.
How important do you think that is?
Even though you don't look the part of being successful, you could still be successful in any way, shape or form. He's probably one of the most famous out of all of them.
Maybe because he's grateful for how he looks like, where some people are not grateful. They just want to look like dolls and stuff.
Do you think that they look like they're happy?
No.
No. One brand that has changed its approach to men over the past 10 years is Lynx. They replaced their Lynx Effect tagline with the Find Your Magic campaign, claiming it inspired confidence and individuality. Okay, cool. I wanted to see which campaign resonated more with the class.
If there was like a 2-year-old watching TV and he saw that.
It's an advert that was shown on television.
That's stupid, man.
I want you to watch this advert now, okay?
Is it okay to be skinny?
Possible, mate.
What was that?
Is it okay to not like sport? Is it okay for guys to wear pink? To have long hair? To like cats? To take a selfie? To shave you? To be depressed? Is it okay?
Come on, man.
Is it okay? Go online to search and see for yourself.
That's a good advert, I respect that.
I respect this advert.
You had a very strong feeling at first, okay? So which advert did you prefer?
I prefer like the second advert.
Why do you prefer the second advert?
It's showing like what actually happens in everyday life with people like with low self-confidence if they're doing the right thing.
No, the first one actually. Not because of the girls or anything, yeah. But like, it's because it had something to do with actual links. It actually advertised what it was meant to advertise.
Okay. And what would you say?
I would say the first one kind of manipulates people. It's like, oh, if you wear this, all the women will come running after you, and you'll be like the centre of attention. But the second one, it shows that you're like real life situations.
Can I just say, they just, I know everybody, I love it, yeah. They're just not admitting it because they're shy.
Bro, no. Wait, can I say something?
Okay, guys. Alright, no, but guys, I just want to say thank you so much for today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Alright. So I think this has been really interesting. I really enjoyed speaking to all the different guys that I've spoken to in this episode. There is, it seems, an appetite to change this image that we've got, this very rigid image of success for men.
Who am I? Who am I? Who am I?
But yeah, you don't want to put men into a box where it's like you've got to be really, really vulnerable all the time and be in touch with your feelings, because just lots of people don't connect with that.
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
It's about like that whole range and whole package of what being successful is, which is what I think is happening more when it comes to advertising directed at women.
She's a lady. Oh, she's a lady.
It was a moment when I was in the classroom and the boys talked about, well, when you get money, like Ronaldo, you get your teeth fixed, your nose fixed. And I just thought, oh my God, I don't really think about young guys and plastic surgery in that way, because it's something that's always attributed to girls. And yeah, it really made me think, like, this is impacting on boys and we are not having this conversation. This is somewhere that needs to be addressed and needs to be looked at further, and it is something that matters. So if you want to stay up to date with everything we're doing, please like, comment and subscribe.